Hello, I'm Eric Snodgrass, and thank you for watching this Ag Forecast, brought to you by Agrible, the makers of Morning Farm Report. Our software gives growers the insights to make the best decisions possible about their operations. Well, here we are early on Christmas morning, and from all of us at Agrible, to you all that are celebrating Christmas, a very Merry Christmas. And I'll tell you something, the next 7 days look to be quite active in terms of weather across the United States. So here we go. These are the winds early in the morning on Christmas, and things are really quite interesting. For example, we've got right here across the north central part of the United States a powerful cold front that came through behind this weak system that dumped some snow basically across the midsection of the country on Christmas Eve. Behind it, some pretty strong winds and some incredibly cold air. We're going to talk about that in just a few moments. This same system right here is going to go up to the northeast, dumping quite a bit of snow in this area over the next 24 hours here on Christmas Day. But honestly, I want your attention to be paid way out here into the Pacific. It's going to be the interplay of these next two systems and how they're going to interact with the overall flow of the jet stream across the United States. That's going to make for some very interesting weather for this upcoming week. So let's dig right into this. First, this is a map showing you the kind of U.S. All hazards weather for Christmas Day, and it could be a lot worse. But let me tell you something. This is quite active. We've got two systems. There's a low pressure system that just went through this region right in through here on Christmas Eve, and it's now heading to the northeast. It's going to kind of pair up with a low developing just off the coast here in the northeast, and combined, they've got a pretty big snow threat going on here in the northeastern part of the United States. Okay, coming all the way to the other side of the country, due to the flow here just off the coast, we've seen some interesting weather kind of setting up here in the higher country here in parts of the northwest, but certainly right here along the coast as well. There's been some icing event near Portland, so it's been very interesting on either side of the coast. But I'm going to pull your attention right back to the Corn Belt here, and let's start in the northern Corn Belt. We have wind chill warnings, wind chill advisories out for several states here, and we're expecting to have wind chills that get down to minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit. And just incidentally, a little bit of trivia for you on Christmas, minus 40 Fahrenheit is also minus 40 Celsius. It's actually the only time that those two temperature scales cross is at minus 40. But at minus 40, we're talking about some brutally cold air. Now, why this is important is because of this chart. You probably heard people talk about the wind chill. Basically, it's an equation that uses temperature and wind speed to kind of tell you what we might want to call a feels like temperature, but let me explain that to you very quickly. For example, we're going to have temperatures in northern Minnesota tomorrow at minus 20 with a wind speed of 10 miles an hour. You can see where the two yellow arrows cross, they hit minus 41. Now, what does that mean? Well, the air temperature is actually minus 20, but that 10-mile-an-hour wind means that your skin, your exposed skin, will cool at the same rate that it would as if the air temperature was minus 41 and there was no wind. And here's the thing. At those kind of temperatures, your skin will freeze in 30 minutes. The National Weather Service calls anything below minus 18 in terms of a wind chill dangerous. When you see the colors kind of changing here, what we're going is from 30-minute freeze times to 10-minute down to 5-minute freeze time for skin. So this is some dangerous territory with wind speeds only at 10 miles an hour, but a temperature of minus 20 gives you a wind chill of minus 41. So that's what we've got to start things off. Now, as we go from there, I want to make sure that you see this map to get us started here. And this was valid early in the morning on Christmas Eve, but it's making my point. And the point is that we've had such active weather across parts of Texas, Oklahoma, getting really into Arkansas and parts of Mississippi, and then down here in parts of Kentucky and Tennessee. We're bringing in a lot of precipitation into this area, which has been very dry. Now, where is it missed? It's missed Kansas, this part of Kansas. It's missed northern Texas and the panhandles of Texas and Oklahoma. And that area is going to continue to stay dry. But the good news is the recent wetter pattern over the last 2 weeks has really brought some rain where we need it down here and even some snow. Okay, here's the big picture for the next week. Now this is a tough one. There's a lot of variability and the models are only in agreement, I'd say, out the next 3 to 4 days, and at that they're not in that great agreement. So I'm going to tell you what the bigger picture is. This is what we're looking at on Christmas Day. We have the low pressure center that's sitting here that did come across a big chunk of the middle part of the country bringing snow on Christmas Eve. Okay, there it is. It's expected to move on off to the north and east, and it's going going to be kind of pairing up with a developing low just off the coast here. And the two together are going to be quite a bit of snow in through this region, which I kind of colored darker blue here. But because of the strong high air pressure that's moving in behind this, we're going to be seeing a lot of lake effect snow over the next several days. Well, that high pressure center kind of sinks off, and by the 27th, 28th, I'm watching a low pressure center that's going to develop somewhere here near Montana, Wyoming, and track something like this. At least that's the latest projection. It's going to go right through South Dakota into Iowa, Illinois, and as it does so, it's going to be doing two very interesting things. First, I'm expecting kind of a band of snow in through this area, and it's going to get all the way to the northeast as well. But as this moves across, the jet stream is going to be supportive of bringing in quite a bit of moisture down here in the south as well, so it could be a very wet week down here. And because of the temperature profile, with all that really, really cold air that's going to be in place here before the system gets going, there is an icing threat in this area. Now, too much uncertainty here as I'm making this video very, very late on Christmas Eve to tell you what it's going to look like. This is valid for like Thursday of this week, but I'll have a whole lot more information about it with our next video that's coming out. Now, because the pattern stays so active, the big thing I'm watching is this. It's looking like December 31st getting into January 1st, we might have a big kind of New Year's Eve, New Year's Day storm system. Now, right now, the models are not in agreement over this, not at all. What I'm showing you here is the GFS track of this low. The European has an entirely different solution, and it's hard to tell which one's really got this hammered down right. But I just want to tell you, you need to be looking out for this system, because if it does form, very busy travel time of year, and if it takes a track like this, we could be producing quite a bit of unsettled weather across a big section of the country, bringing some big snows to some folks, maybe even some severe weather the farther south we go. My point in all of this is we've got a very active pattern setting up, and it doesn't seem like it's going to be going anywhere anytime soon. In addition to that, check out all the cold air that's in store for a big section of the country. This just got us through a week here, getting us all the way out until, you can see here, the 31st. And what this animation just showed you, let's watch it again real quick, is the cold air that's coming in on Christmas and then Tuesday really tries to stick around. In fact, it goes off my color bar here. This white is more than a 20-degree anomaly. So this is very, very cold air. It looks like it's coming in around New Year's Eve. But we've got to keep an eye on this, because there is some uncertainty in exactly how this is all going to take shape. But that's kind of the beauty of this. It's very, very active weather patterns like this. They're hard to predict more than 2 to 3 days in advance as to exactly where the snow is going to fall, what the temperatures are going to look like. But this is the pattern we're in for right now. Now let's take a quick trip kind of globally here and take a look at what precipitation has looked like over the last week. So I'm going to animate this. I want you to focus on South America. So this is the last week's worth of precipitation in South America. Now we're going to see here that a big storm system went through parts of Argentina and hit southern growing regions, and at the same time the Brazilian monsoon's been very active. That's what that looks like. Argentina had a few systems that went through, which is good because it's been dry there for the last 30 days. So the last week's worth of precipitation has really been a good week in terms of what it's done for ag in South America. That's what we just saw. When we look over the next 10 days, we still see a similar pattern drying out in this area up here. So Mato Grosso's here. This is a drier pattern for a lot of the northern growing regions in Brazil. I know this looks drier down here in Argentina, and it's not to say that it's really, really wet, but this is, we don't expect the same kind of rains we get in Brazil to happen down here in Argentina. So this is not too terribly of a dry pattern for Argentina, but we've got to be watching the area that I'm kind of coloring right here, and of course this area in the northern growing regions of Brazil as we go through the month of January and into February, as some of the longer range models are hinting that those areas could be dry, while the South American monsoonal flow kind of sets up right into here, which is what it's looking to do for the next 10 days. So we'll keep an eye on that, just kind of keep seeing how things are going, but certainly the last week was a very favorable week, I think, overall in terms of weather for South American grains. And with that, I think I'll go ahead and wrap up this forecast video. We hope you look forward to Agrible's next ag forecast coming out on Thursday. Get a morning farm report for your operations with a daily email that shows you a snapshot of field conditions each morning. Go to morningfarmreport.com. Sign up for a free account. Full grower accounts are free if you sign up for a sustainable yield program or for growers who work with 80 merchandisers. Hope you all have a great Christmas, and I'll talk to you again next Thursday.